What's up, Barkadang T? Ako nga pala si Jorel at ngayon ay pag-uusapan natin ang Laudato Si. Pero bago tayo tumungo sa main topic, ano muna ang holiness? Maraming iba't ibang kahulugan ang holiness depende sa pagkakalam ng mga tao. Para mas magkaroon tayo ng ideya, ang holiness is the purity of or integrity of moral character. According to the Laudato Si of Pope Francis, he concludes by speaking of an ecological spirituality which is indeed a compact name for becoming holy while caring for our common homes. Also, to build and protect our common home is to become holy, as well as help others towards holiness. Lagi rin natin tatandaan na hindi lahat ng taong uma-attend sa simbahan ay holy na. Kinakailangan din nila na magkaroon ng purity of the heart upang sabing na holy sila.
Pope Francis wrote the encyclical Laudato Si, which was published in 2015. It addresses a variety of ecological and social issues, emphasizing humanity's responsibility to care for the environment and work towards a more just and sustainable world. The encyclical calls for a shift in the way we live and engage with the natural environment by drawing a Catholic social teaching, biblical teaching, and scientific research. Living out the Catholic Church teaching entails putting into reality the values and principles that are important to Catholic social teaching. They include human dignity, solidarity, the common good, and environmental stewardship. In this light, Laudato Si is significant because it provides a complete and persuasive picture of what it means to practice these ideals in the context of the current environmental catastrophe. Laudato Si emphasizes that the interconnectedness of environmental, social, and economic challenges and urges for a comprehensive approach to addressing them. This entails acknowledging that the health of the earth is inextricably linked to the well-being of all people, particularly the most vulnerable. It also entails recognizing and acting to improve the way in which our economic systems and lifestyle contribute to environmental degradation and social inequity. Laudato Si provides various concrete suggestions for how to accomplish this, including limiting our resource use, encouraging renewable energy, promoting sustainable agriculture, and lobbying for policies that protect the environment and promote social justice. It also advocates for a more meditative and spiritual approach to our relationship with nature, grounded in gratitude and sense of oneness. Therefore, Laudato Si is an important document for both Catholics and non-Catholics because it provides a strong ethical framework for responding to our time's critical environmental and social concerns. We may work towards a more just, equitable, and sustainable world for all people and future generations by taking its teaching to heart and putting them into actions. Pope Francis' encyclical Laudato Si highlights the importance of addressing environmental deterioration as both a moral and a practical imperative. The encyclical emphasizes necessity for immediate action on this issue for a various reasons. Human well-being and the natural world are intimately connected. Laudato Si emphasizes the interconnection of all living things and emphasizes the importance of environmental health for a human survival and development. Environmental degradation, among other things, has a direct influence on human health, food security, and access to clean water. By neglecting to address these concerns, we endanger our own and future generation well-being. The poor and disadvantaged are disappropriately affected by environmental degradation. According to Laudato Si, people who are least responsible for environmental problems are frequently the most harmed by them. Environmental deterioration is likely to exacerbate current social inequities and lead to more injustice for poor communities, indigenous peoples, and future generations. Environmental degradation is a moral issue. The subject of environmental degradation is framed as a moral imperative in Laudato Si, emphasizing that it is our role as stewards of creation to care for and conserve the natural world for our future generations. The encyclical uses Catholic social teaching and biblical texts to argue that environmental protection is a moral imperative as well as a practical need. The time is running out. According to Laudato Si, the effects of environmental degradation are already being felt all over the world, and immediate action is required to prevent additional damage. The encyclical cautions that the window of opportunity for addressing these concerns is narrowing, and that unless we make fundamental changes in how we live and interact with nature, we risk causing irresponsible harm to the earth and ourselves.
Kamusta ulit, Barkadang THY? Ngayon naman ay ibabahagi ko sa inyo ang call to care for the poor and the vulnerable. Base sa Laudato Si, sa Chapter 2, the common good, or the common destination of goods. Kaya sabi rito na the principle of the universal destination of goods is an invitation to develop an economic vision inspired by moral values that permit people not to lose sight of the origin or purpose of these goods so as to bring about a world of fairness and solidarity. Para mas maintindihan natin ang Laudato Si, may goal sila that they want to accomplish, at isa na rito ang call for the poor and the vulnerable. And according din sa chapter 2, number 93, Earth is essential, a shared inheritance, fruit are meant to benefit everyone. So sabi diyan, everyone. So hindi lang isa or hindi lang yung mayaman o mahirap. Kaya dapat equal din ang nakukuha mong rights. So nagkakaroon ng equal rights. So, yun yung goal niya na gustong ipaiwasan para sa call of the care for the poor para matulungan sila.
In paragraphs 20 to 22 talks about pollution and the throwaway culture, the various forms of pollution that have become part of people's daily lives and its effect on the environment and health. Exposure to atmospheric pollutants causes millions of premature deaths, especially among the poor, and the use of fuels for cooking or heating can lead to further health problems. Pollution is also caused by transport, industrial fumes, and toxic substances used in agriculture and cities. This contributes to a throwaway culture in which resources are wasted and natural ecosystems are not properly respected. The planet is becoming increasingly filled with waste and toxic chemicals, leading to irreversible health damage. There is a need to adopt a circular model of production that preserves resources, limits non-renewable resources, and maximizes efficiency use, reuse, and recycling. However, progress in this regard has been limited. In paragraphs 203 and 209 talks about the effects of consumerism. The effects of consumerism within the techno-economic paradigm and how it has caused individuals to become confused and anxious. It suggests that while self-improvement on the part of individuals may help, it is not enough to remedy the situation without a community conversion. That involves social and ecological awareness. Romano Guardani had foreseen this issue and noted that the technology used in machine production often convinced people that conformity is reasonable. The paragraph also notes that those who have economic and financial power are the ones who are truly free, while the majority are stuck in a whirlwind of needless buying and spending. paragraphs 84 to 86, discusses the importance of recognizing each creature in the universe and how each of them is part of a bigger plan by God. It emphasizes that humans are created in God's image, but not all creatures have their own purpose and should be respected. All creatures, from the panoramic vistas to the tiniest living form, are a manifestation of God's love and are a constant source of wonder and awe. Contemplating creation allows us to discover the teaching God wishes to give us. We learn to see ourselves in relation to all other creatures and to understand the importance and meaning of each creature in the entirety of God's plan. Interdependence between creatures is part of God's will, and no creature is self-sufficient since all exist in dependence on each other to complete each other and in the service of each other.
The Catholic Church and Laudato Si. Laudato Si is a document that calls on everyone to take action for the environment and the planet, emphasizing that environmental stewardship is a moral obligation on Catholic social teaching. So, what are the roles of Catholic Church in promoting Laudato Si? So, first is to advocate for environmental justice. The Church has emphasized that the importance of preferential option for the poor in recognizing those who are the most vulnerable are the ones that suffer the most in environmental degradation. We are challenged to make preferential option for the poor, to create conditions for the marginalized voices to be heard, to defend the defenseless. It calls us to strengthen the whole community by assisting those who are the most vulnerable. Next is to integrate the Laudato Si into Catholic social teaching. This has been done by teaching and preaching, incorporating the themes of Laudato Si into religious education programs. Holiness can be done by caring for the environment, by planting trees, respecting creations, and being stewards of the earth and its resources. So, what are the relationship of Catholic social teaching and Laudato Si? So, Laudato Si calls for global solidarity in addressing environmental problems, recognizing that the effects of environmental degradation are often felt by those who are the poor and vulnerable. Laudato Si emphasizes the concept of stewardship, which calls for responsible and sustainable management of the Earth's resources and the protection of the environment for the future generation.
To sum it up, Laudato Si calls us to take care of God's creation. We are stewards of His creation. It is important to take into heart that we are connected to one another, to the environment, surroundings, animals, and to the future. It is observable, and one best example na may bibigay ko sa inyo ay halaman, plants. Nagbe-benefit tayo sa kanila at sila rin sa atin. We mammals, humans, animals exhale carbon dioxide, in which plants make use of this through photosynthesis. With the use of the sunlight, nakakapag-produce naman sila ng oxygen. Doon pa lang, makikita mo na ang connection natin sa isa't isa at sa kapaligiran. Paano mo naman nasabi na connected yun sa future? Well, the future relies on how we take care of the present. Present na pinagkakaloob at natatanggap natin sa pang-araw-araw. How we make use of these presents ang nakakaapekto sa future. Kanina pa ako present ng present. Well, what I meant by present is yung present regalo na pinagkaloob sa atin ni Lord, which are the resources sa mundo, no? Tubig, lupa. Again, best example, top answer, plants. Bukod sa oxygen, narito na rin ang food, wood, panggatong, so source of fuel. Ang daming use, pero kung gagamitin sa paraan na wala namang nakakabuti, sobra-sobra sa paggamit, more than enough, sayang, at maaaring magresulta sa shortage, deforestation, flood, at iba pang bagay na hindi maganda ang dulot. Paano pa ang mga susunod na henerasyon? Ano gagamitin nila? Bilang individuals na gumagamit ng mga presents, ngayong present, pangalagaan natin para sa future.